point in history, we have a much better understanding of the way humans were living because we have a lot more written records and lots of artifacts because of the materials that were being used. Multiple civilizations came to be at this point, and they advanced and developed their technologies at much different times. We're not going to be too Eurocentric, so I'm going to be talking about multiple different civilizations, and yeah, just keep in mind that the technologies that were not developed at the same times, and it's not the same as today. Today information goes through the entire world at a much higher speed. Let's start with ancient Egypt. So in Egypt, humans invented many things that we still use today. For example, ramps, levers, pottery, the wheel. The wheel is a huge contribution to humanity, and we still depend on it today. The Greeks invented many things as well, like the screw, the rotary mills, steam-powered engines, bronze casting. Bronze casting, we're going to do a feature on it in the manufacturing playlist, so keep an eye out for that. A lot of these inventions in Greece were created and developed in a time of war, where we needed a lot of weapons and we needed to create faster. So that time pressure and the immensity of the war pushed us to create more in a small period of time. The Romans built a lot of structures, most of which are still standing today because of the materials they used. They did a lot of experimenting with marbles, concrete, stone, so these materials take a lot more time to break down. They don't really get recycled, they kind of just break and get used and eroded and all that stuff. So it was a lot easier to imagine ancient Romans and the way that they lived because of the fact that all of these buildings are still standing. A lot of ancient Roman technologies were also invented in a time of war where we needed a lot of medical equipment and stuff like that. And this is kind of a theme that is recurrent in human history. The fact that we developed many new technologies over a small period of time and in the time of crisis. And you can see that with World War II, for example, which is much more familiar and close to us. In World War II, we created plastics, we created microwaves, commercial use microwaves. There are many more things that also came out after the war. And we will be doing a whole other video about this in the design history playlist. Now we're going to talk about the European Middle Ages, which started in 500 BC under Christian rule. So this is specific to the European continent. At this time, human technology continued to evolve according to the needs of the humans at that point in time. So at this point, we had the medieval and the kingdoms and all of these ages and stages in human history where, there was a formation of hierarchy, so the nobles and the peasants and all that stuff. And so the products that were surrounding these humans were adapted to that. So there were a lot of products used for cultivating. There were a lot of products used for, just flamboyant decoration for the castles. There were a lot of castles being built, a lot of Gothic style buildings and churches and Catholic cathedrals and such. A lot of external cultures and civilizations contributed greatly to European technology. So a lot of inspiration from other cultures. As the Europeans were inspired by these other cultures, they invented windmills, eyeglasses, wheelbarrows. Interesting fact about wheelbarrows, the Chinese wheelbarrow was much more efficient as a wheelbarrow for the user, so it would make the user a lot less tired and it just worked better. But the European wheelbarrow was accepted by the public. I don't know why, I can't explain why, but there's actually a very good episode on the channel called Dirty Biology. It's a great channel, I highly recommend it, and I'll link the video up here. It's super interesting if you want to know more about that. This is also a time where printing was invented and we started printing the Bibles, and a lot more people were starting to read and learn to write, and so illiteracy went down, and there was a change in the social structure. We also started having encyclopedias and stuff like that, so really a change in human knowledge, because we were able to record it much better and release information in a much easier way. Our boats also became more effective and performed better, and so we were able to travel for longer distances and discover more things. So as I was saying, there was a lot of social change at this point after printing, and this is when we dive into the Renaissance. So the Renaissance was a time where humans recalled Greek philosophers such as Protagoras, who said that man is the measure of all things. It was a notion that was applied in many sectors and is still used until today. For example, product design, industrial design, is a practice where the user is at the center of the problem, and we're trying to make the experience better for the user. And so, the human is at the center of the project. And this ideology is kind of changing a little bit. We're moving away from anthropocentrism, which is the belief that humans are at the center of the universe, and humans are a higher entity than the other livings on the planet. And we're kind of, with biomimicry for example, we're kind of accepting that human technology might not be brilliant and that we can learn a thing or two from nature, and we could see it as a mentor as well. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you learned something new. I am going to start releasing shorts more regularly because I think that it's a great way of releasing a bit of information. And if you like something, a specific thing that I talk about in the shorts, please let me know if you want me to do a bigger video about it and talk more extensively about it. Otherwise, I'm thinking of doing live sessions every Wednesday nights. Let me know if that's something you'd be interested in, and let me know if there's topics you want to cover in these live sessions. And yeah, I'll see you later.